Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming in. As we had sent out, the webinar today is just going to give you an overview of what is the Golden Visa, the UAE Golden Visa. How do you qualify through stake? If you want to go through the agenda, we're going to basically give you an overview on what stake is. What we've done so far since we've launched. Then we'll get into a Dubai property market update. What's going on in Dubai. Everyone keeps talking about the market here. We want to give you the facts, the figures basically the updates of what's going on. And then obviously the UAE Golden Visa benefits. What is the UAE Golden Visa? How do investors benefit from getting this? How do you qualify? And what is the application process? And then we'll end it with some Q&A, which we'll try to answer as much as we can. So we'll get started by some quick introductions. My name is Rami Tabbara. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of Stake. And on the call today is Sarah.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Sarah Hewerdine, and I head up strategic partnerships for Stake.
Cool. So Stake, how are we doing? And basically, for those of you who don't know what Stake is a digital real estate investment platform that allows anyone from anywhere in the world to invest in Dubai real estate in under 3 minutes, starting from 500 dirhams. How do you do this? It's fractional ownership. You start off with the minimum of 500 dirhams. We empower everyone to own and build wealth through real estate. The beauty of what we built is we built a mobile app. You do it off your phone, just like shopping on Amazon. It's much faster than the traditional process, so you can do it in 3 minutes. It's actually 14,400 times faster. We calculated. The beauty of Stake as an investment platform, it allows you to diversify. So rather than putting all your money into one property, you can diversify. So if you have 1,000 dirhams or you have 20,000 dirhams, you can divide those across different properties. All our properties are ready. So nothing's off plan. You're able to see the property on the platform, see 3D tours. We give you the full information. We're fully transparent. One thing I'd like to highlight is we're regulated by the DFSA, which is the Dubai Financial Services Authority. Very stringent regulators. They make sure everything's in order. So everything that you see on the platform, we ensure that it's fully transparent. Valuations, projections, rental income. So you have full access to that. We believe it's much better than the REIT. It's not correlated to the stock market. It's real assets. You have the power of choice. You choose how much you want to invest, into what you want to invest, based on which locations. And then something that we did earlier this year, which we're very excited about as we expand this, is our exit windows, whereby after 1 year of investment, you can exit your stake. You can sell your stake on the platform. We launched it in May. We're going to be doing 2 windows every year, November and May, and they're open for 2 weeks. We got some feedback. We might open it for more. We'll be sharing more information on exit windows later. But what we've created is an opportunity. What Stake has given you is an opportunity for you to come in, invest in property, do it on your phone, starting from 500 dirhams, diversify, and also give you the liquidity options. So you're able to exit if you need the liquidity. So since we launched the business in January 2021. We've seen some fantastic results. We have now over 255,000 registered users. The beauty of our platform is we can investors from anywhere in the world can come onto the platform. We have investors from over 190 nationalities from 160 countries. Literally, we get investors from anywhere. And it's very simple. You download the app. You create an account, you upload your passport and proof of address, and within 3 minutes you can own a piece of Dubai. Since we've launched the business, we've transacted just over 164 million dirhams, close to $50 million, just over $46 million. And we've been very fortunate enough to be covered by some of the leading publications, which include Forbes, Time, National, TechCrunch. We've seen significant growth since we've launched. One thing that we're very proud of is that we've built a platform that users are proud of, that investors are proud of, and we can see that by our repeat investment rate and the fact that we've paid rental income every month on our properties. So with the market increasing, which Sarah will talk about after, we've really benefited. Our investors have really benefited from participating on stake, and more importantly, is we've built a platform that enables for them to do this in such an easy and transparent way. And we're consistently updating our mobile app to ensure that all feedback from portfolio to transparency to ease of use to payment methods are always updated, and empowers you as investor to really get a simple and transparent way of participating in the market.
Okay, hi everyone. So what I'll be doing now is take you through a bit of a Dubai market update. So in terms of Dubai and how we're doing as a city, when we look at globally how the world is doing, especially as we look more towards the West, we know that there's a global downturn. We know that there's a lot of headwinds coming our way when it comes to inflation, interest rates, in some particular parts of the world, job markets. When we look at Dubai, I think it's always good to look at the tailwinds in the market. So there's a lot of tailwinds that really drive the momentum of this market. And that really comes down to a few factors. So first of all is what we've seen over the last couple of years is continuous interest rate hikes from the Fed. Now, in most markets, this has had a lot of an impact because they've been heavy on the mortgage side. But one thing that really works in our favor in the Dubai market is that we're a very cash heavy market. So about 80% of the sales transactions within Dubai are cash purchases. The only shift that we've really seen in really the last 12 to 24 months has more come from any investors that used to take mortgages, maybe because it was cheap debt. What they're now doing is moving into the cash market. But what's keeping that mortgage market going is a lot of end users still entering the market despite the rate increases. It's zero income tax. So we had corporation tax introduced last month, but we're still zero income tax. Again, a huge tailwind for this market. We've got a lot of momentum coming from the government in terms of doubling the population of Dubai. We'll go on to that a little bit later as well. And when we look at GDP growth when we look towards UAE and we also look towards Dubai, we had a really, really strong year last year, even in the non-oil sector. And as we look towards this year, we're still expecting a forecast of 4.2%. And I think all of this kind of summarized really leans into like why we are ranked as one of the best cities in the world to live. I think there's a huge amount that goes in Dubai's favor. And I think that a lot of these tailwinds, although globally there's a lot of struggles, like I say, more towards the West, it's really keeping up momentum in this market. So I think it's also important to touch on here a lot of the prices. So I'm sure that anybody who's up to date with the Dubai real estate market will be seeing, day after day, week after week, reports of the price increases that we've seen over the last couple of years. I think one thing that's important to touch on here is when we look at Dubai and we look at it globally, so comparing it to other similar cities around the world, London, New York, Singapore, Hong Kong, when we look at the price per square foot, so if you look on the right-hand side of the screen, we're looking at a US dollar price per square foot now. Although Dubai has seen price increases, we are still so far to go when you compare us to many other cities around the world. So I think that sometimes we look in the short term and we look at within the last couple of years how much prices have increased, but we are coming from quite a low baseline. One thing that leads on to that, and I think that lends itself well into this kind of next topic, is when it comes to high net worth individuals. So when we look at Dubai as a city and you look at all the other cities around the world, we saw the highest inflows of high net worth individuals last year, and we are predicted to have another strong year of growth. So on the left-hand side, you can see the outflows of high net worth individuals, which countries they're exiting from. China is still coming out very heavily #1, and also within India as well. But when we look towards the forecast for where high net worth individuals, so just as a reminder, high net worth individuals is anybody that has a net worth of more than $1 million. The countries that are benefiting from this come down to Australia, UAE, Singapore, USA, and Switzerland. Now, Australia sometimes can look surprising. That is because a lot of Chinese high net worths tend to migrate to Australia. But as you can see, it's really closely followed by the UAE. And Dubai is most definitely going to be the biggest benefit of those high net worths moving into this market. So what that means, high net worths are moving, a lot of different people are moving. We have got a growing population. So if you look at the left-hand side and we look at the population numbers, although we did have a dip in 2020, it's a very heavy expat, city, Dubai. We were going to see an exodus then, but at the end of the day, we've really recovered very quickly. So you can see where we're stabilizing now. Our population is about 3.6 million within Dubai. And how this translates when we look more towards the sales market, the residential sales market, you can see the transaction numbers we're seeing. So what we've got here is off-plan and ready market. So off-plan is still under construction. Ready is anything that has then been handed over and anybody that's ready to then move into a unit. The thing that's been driving this market quite a lot in the last couple of years comes down to a few factors. First of all, is Dubai has always been a very heavy expat population. People tend to come in for a couple of years, make good money, and go to their home country. What happened during COVID is it changed a lot of people's mindset, and people started looking at Dubai and the UAE as a place they can call home. So what we've seen is a huge amount of end users entering the market, again, fueling those transactions. We've also then got, because there's been so much activity in that ready market, the off-plan market, developers started to build again, release projects, and now this is where we're seeing a huge amount of momentum. So if you look in 2022, you can see the growth that we have in the off-plan and the secondary market. But what's interesting now is as we switch towards this year is off-plan has actually taken over the ready market. So there's more properties under construction being sold than there are in the ready market. This data is of the first 6 months, and you can already see we're around 65% of where we were in 2022. So I'd expect to see even healthier figures this year than we did last year. One thing I touched on earlier that I think is important to talk about is the 2040 vision. So Dubai has a goal to double the population. If you look on the left-hand side, you can see the population numbers that we're at right now. We're about 3.6 million. The goal is to get us to 5.8 million by 2040. Now, when we look at the housing supply needed to meet that demand, there's actually a substantial amount of housing supply that needs to come into the market. So, for example, right now, population is 3.6 million. We have around 740,000 units available in the market, in the current market. In order to hit the population of 5.8 million, we're requiring just shy of 1.2 million homes available. And how that translates over the next is about 450,000 additional units over the next 16 years. That averages about 27,000 new units that are needed to be delivered every single year to meet the population target. So if you look on the right-hand side, you can see the number of units that we're expecting to hit the market this year and over the next few years. This does already account for materialization rate of 65%, which is pretty common in the Dubai real estate market when you look at the upcoming supply. Now, we'd expect around 30 to 35,000 to be handed over in 2023. But when you look towards the coming years, especially 2024 and 2025, we're pretty much bang on the money when we look at the number of units that we need to cater to the population. When you look towards 2026, I'd expect quite a few launches to come this year that may be handed over in 2026. And again, we'll always get that delayed handover period that will fuel upcoming supply as well. So one thing that is important to look at, especially as yourselves as investors looking to invest into stake, is when it comes down to occupancy rates. So occupancy rates vary greatly depending on particular communities, where you are, types of unit. But when we look, holistically at Dubai, Dubai is around 84% now. So we've got a really, really strong occupancy rate. Now, let's look towards more kind of prime communities. And we are very, we have a really strong asset acquisition team that really focus on making sure that we acquire the right units to ensure we get high occupancy rates. But 84% as a city average is a very strong average, again, when you compare it on a global scale. So we have that definitely working in our favor. Again, that's spurred on by the growing population as well. Then when we look towards the rental prices, so I think that anyone that's renting in this market right now is probably feeling a little bit of pain, a few years of, rental price increases. It's a tough pill to swallow, but I think at the end of the day, like I said, we're coming from a really low baseline. There was a lot of people, living in accommodation in 2019, 2020, and what you can get for your money in such prime central locations was incredibly cheap. It really was. So I think what we're coming back to now is the recovery that was really needed in this market. And I think that although that, there's some people have had really, really aggressive rate increases, I think that it actually lends itself well to the type of market we're in. And it's going to be like any other city, you have your prime areas, and if you can't afford to live in the prime areas, you go to the suburbs, and that's just how a city expands. That's exactly what we're going to be seeing in this market, as we already are, and that's how it will continue to evolve. So what I'll do is I'll just pass back over to Rami now, and we'll get into details on the golden visa.
Hey everyone. So, what is the UAE golden visa, and what are the benefits? So UAE golden visa introduced in 2019 to attract high net worth individuals to the country. So far, we've had over 150,000 issued. It's a 10-year renewable visa, so automatically renews every 10 years. And for those of you who have been in Dubai before, the current visa is either 1 year or 2 years if you're an employment visa. So getting something that's 10 years that's automatically renewed is something that's great. It also enables you to work, live, study in the UAE without having to continually renew your visa. It also it gives you the ability to sponsor your family and unlimited domestic helpers. Now, the beauty of Dubai is it's income tax free. So, any income that you make in the UAE is tax free. It also allows you to travel to various countries on your visa free, for example, to places like Hong Kong, Singapore, Philippines with your resident visa. The beauty of Dubai, as I'm sure a lot of you know, it's got rated the second safest country in the world. And that's something that the world right now, people around the world look for. And Dubai has really established itself as a city that people want to come here because of the safety that it provides. We saw what the United Arab Emirates did during COVID and how they reacted to the pandemic, and that's they're reaping the benefits still today. So being able to be in a place like Dubai over 10 years renewable is a huge added value. And also you can spend extended times outside of the UAE without having to worry about renewing your visa, because previously you had to come back every 6 months. Now you have extended times where you can actually go outside of the UAE and come back and your visa is still valid. And you can work for yourself. This is the beauty of it, as I mentioned earlier. You can work for yourself, or another company without requiring sponsorship. So you can open your own company, do something on your own, whatever it is. You have a visa, so you don't need to be sponsored by anyone. You're basically free to set up your own business on the golden visa. So how do you get the golden visa for real estate? So before stake, in order to get a golden visa, you had to buy a property for 2 million dirhams. And that property was either off plan or ready. And you had to go either through the secondary market to find a ready property, or go through a developer and buy something that's off plan. Now, for me, if and the way we see it at stake is, if you're buying something off, if you're investing purely for the golden visa, then off plan doesn't give the same advantages that ready does. Obviously, off plan gives you the payment plan, but the beauty of having something ready is you can immediately start getting income from it. And that's where at stake we really focus, is all the properties that we have on the platform are ready and will immediately get you rental income. And if you're, as I said, you're investing to get a golden visa, there's two core addressable issues that we saw. First of all, the lack of diversification. So you're taking 2 million dirhams, which is $550,000, and you're putting it all into one property. So that's a lack of diversification. Let's say you're putting it into one property, the occupancy rate, the tenant leaves. If it's off plan, the developer is delayed. The price goes down. There isn't that lack of diversification. You're putting all your eggs in one basket. You're putting that 2 million dirhams into one property. So there is no diversification there. And then going through and buying a property isn't always the most pleasant experience. As I mentioned earlier, doing it through stake is a lot faster. There's paperwork, there's viewings, you have to deal with various brokers or a developer. So it's not as seamless as it is on stake. So being able to get that golden visa, doing it digitally on your phone, something that's not been done. And we're the first real estate digital investment platform that does this through tech. We've enabled this and we've made it as seamless as possible. So basically what we solve, and the most important thing is, if you're buying a property as well, is the headache. Who's going to manage it for you? Who's going to rent it for you? Who's going to take care of whether it's short term or long term? With us, you put 2 million dirhams, we take care of everything for you. So you're diversifying, you're buying into rental properties, so you're immediately getting an income on that 2 million dirhams, and you're able to do this without the hassle of managing it and worrying about tenants and stuff. So it's such a seamless process from managing to doing it. And paperwork, we take care of all the paperwork for the golden visa. It's a fully digital buying process. Once you invest the 2 million dirhams, so you can put that 2 million dirhams across 5 properties, 6 properties, whatever the number is. And then the beauty of it is, then we take care of all the paperwork. We work with the IFC to get you the golden visa. If you wanna. So, as I said, we're collaborating with the DIFC, which is Dubai International Financial Center. It took us 18 months to get this approved. We worked very hard with all the government agencies. We worked closely with the IFC, and finally we were able to get this approved. So as we're very proud of being the first to get this done. And the way it works is, as I said, you create an account. You upload your passport, your proof of address. Now, in order to qualify for the golden visa, because as I mentioned earlier, we're regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority, in order to invest 2 million dirhams, you need to be classified as a professional investor. And that means, Sarah will talk about qualifications later, but today, investing on stake, you have a retail limit of $50,000. But if you want to exceed that limit to invest 2 million dirhams, you need to be classified as a professional investor, which Sarah can touch on. So, before I pass it on to Sarah for qualifications, I just want to, highlight it's digital, it's transparent, you get the access to all the information, it's hassle-free. And the most important thing about this is the fact that you can diversify and get immediate income. You invest 2 million dirhams, as soon as the property is funded, you start getting returns on that 2 million dirhams. And then one thing I'd like to highlight as well is when you invest 2 million dirhams on our platform, you become an elite tier, which basically means you get certain benefits, which is cash backs on your investment. You get a gift box from us, so you're treated as an elite customer, so you get that VIP service. And more importantly, we take care of everything with the IFC for your golden visa paperwork.
Okay, so going on to the qualification. So as Rami mentioned, we have two types of users. We have our retail users and we have our professional investors. So our retail investors are capped at $50,000 per calendar year on investments with state. Again, it's because we're so heavily regulated by the DFSA. We aren't allowed to go over that quota. Now, in order to invest the 2 million dirham, $545,000 US, you will need to be classified as a professional investor. So to be a professional investor on stake, you need to prove you have a net worth of $1 million. Now, this $1 million can be proven through bank statement, other title deeds, portfolio of investments, company valuations, crypto holdings. It just has to exclude your primary residence. But as long as you can prove it through other means, that's all we need. And it's not a long process. Within a day, we can do all the checks and prove that. So then you can get ready to start investing on stake. One thing, a few things to keep in mind when it comes to the golden visa. So no investor can own more than 33% of a single property. This avoids any shareholder majority. So to invest your 2 million dirham, we typically have around roughly 3 properties listed at any one time. If you're ready to invest your 2 million dirham, we can spread that across those properties. It's totally up to you as an investor as to how many properties you want to spread it against. But at any one time, we should have enough on the platform so you can invest your 2 million, diversify that investment, and then you qualify for the visa. As soon as you qualify as a professional investor, you also can fund your account through credit card. So anybody who's investing on the stake can use bank transfer from wherever they are in the world, debit card as well. But the benefit, again, of being a professional investor is you can do it through credit card payments. The golden visa will be processed by stake and DIFC. So again, it's in partnership with DIFC. So we'll do all the process on the ground here, and I'll take you through what that process looks like. When it comes down to the cost, it's the standard cost that you pay for obtaining the golden visa. 6,000 dirham, that's for yourself. And then once the full process is done, that's when we can then do it for other family members as well. So if we look at the application process, it's typically completed within 2 weeks. So documents, pretty self-explanatory: passport copy, passport photo, title deeds. So this is where we supply all of this. So as soon as the properties are funded and closed and we issue those title deeds and you're a shareholder on the SPV, we can provide all of that information. And again, we handle all that in-house, so you don't have to. And then if you are a resident of the UAE currently, we will just need a copy of your Emirates ID, visa and medical insurance. If you're outside the UAE, not needed. When we look towards the visa process, so you need to be within the UAE to start the golden visa process. It typically takes around 2 weeks. We'll submit an application. As soon as that is done, there'll be a medical test. This is very common for any visa application within the UAE. There'll be a quick medical test. And then if you've not had an Emirates ID before, we'll do the biometrics. So again, an appointment to do the biometrics will be scheduled. And as soon as that is done, the process will be complete. You'll get your Emirates ID card issued, which is the national ID card. Once you've got that and that's physically in your hand, that is when you can then apply and start the visa process for your family members as well. So only when you've got the Emirates ID, you can then start applying for your family members. And that's it. I think we've had a kind of good run through of the golden visa. What we'd like to do now is a Ask Us Anything session. So you'll be able to see on the screen, there's a Q&A. If you go into the Q&A, we will go through some of the questions and answer them as we go through. So we've already just started to get a couple through. The first one is the accumulated investments on stake that reaches 2 million dirham. Can I get the golden visa? Yes. So as long as you have 2 million dirham invested into stake, you can get the golden visa and you qualify for the visa. Again, we can handle all of that. We'll get all the title deeds as proof. And then what we can do is apply for the visa on your behalf.
Next one. Is it interest-free? Yes. So being regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority, there is no debt involved in any of our investments. So it is interest-free. And is it halal? Actually, we're in the process of applying for an Islamic window with our regulator. We do have Sharia certification, which you can see on our website. But in order to be fully Sharia compliant, we have to apply for an Islamic window with our regulator, which we are in the process of finalizing, and we'll have updates on that very soon. Can we buy one property of AED 2 million through stake as a sole shareholder? So we have put a limit of a maximum of 33% ownership in a property. So, you know, in order for you to put 2 million dirhams into one property, we'd have to have a property that's, you know, over 7 million, if my math is right. But yeah, so, or just over 6 million. But so for us, it's, you would have to put that 2 million dirhams across various properties. But if you do want to buy one property, please reach out to our team and we can figure out a solution for you. When I buy a share in a property, will my name be put on the property title deed? So the way it works is once you buy a property and the property is fully funded, we set up a special purpose vehicle in the DIFC. And that company, which is basically a company, owns the property. And what the investors get, they get a copy of the title deed, which is in the name of the SPV. And then every single investor in that company get share certificates that are, and on that share certificate, you're able to see how much ownership you have. And those share certificates and the title deed are presented to the DIFC in order for you to apply for the golden visa. Now, the once you invest in the property, you're able to go to the DIFC website and actually you're able to see your name under the SPV. So it's fully transparent. You know, it's fully open to investors, and you're able to get those two sets of documents. Actually, we just released something on our app whereby you're able to see the share certificates and the title deed on your portfolio under the documents page, document section.
So one of the questions we've had here is about the yearly limit for investment. So it is currently capped, as I mentioned, as per regulation, to $50,000 per calendar year. We are seeing what we can do about that, but right now you would have to classify as a professional investor to remove that cap. We've had a few questions about, are we recording it yet? We can share everything with you afterwards as well. I've just had another one come through, which is there a time frame for reaching the 2 million dirham? No. Invest over time if you'd like to. It's just as soon as you've hit that 2 million dirham of equity in real estate is when we can kick off the golden visa process.
Good evening. After the 10-year period is over and the visa is ready to be renewed, is there any more payments, funds required for the renewal to be processed? Yes. Gold, you know, just like any visa, at the end of every 10 years, there's a renewal fee. You know, currently the fee is 6,000. Now, will that increase in 10 years or decrease? We won't be able to know. But yeah, there definitely are fees when you renew your visa. I'm not a UAE resident, and being a state customer, can I open a bank account in UAE to transfer my rental income? So yeah, we have investors from all over the world. You don't need to be a UAE resident to be a state customer, which is great. Now, can you come to the UAE and open your own bank account? You can, but some banks will require some documentation, which are employee contract, salary certificates, and they'll allow you to potentially open a savings account. Now, we can point you to the relationships we have in some of our banks, and then you can kind of reach out to them directly. But I know non-residents and tourists who've opened bank accounts in Dubai, but there's a compliance process behind that. Anyone so far got golden visas via Stake? Yes, we've had over 5 people get golden visas from Stake, and the process was very seamless and easy and transparent and quick.
Okay, so how long does the 2 million dirham need to be invested to keep the golden visa? So the golden visa, at any point, you need to make sure you continue that 2 million dirham of equity in real estate. So that 2 million dirham would have to stay to keep the visa valid. Another one, it's just gone, but another question I just saw was, I hold other real estate assets. Can I top it up with Stake to the 2 million dirham? Unfortunately, no. So because we're doing it in collaboration with DIFC through the DFSA, you need to hold 2 million dirham within Stake. You can't use Stake to top up the other real estate you own. It has to be within Stake, the full 2 million dirham.
Then, is USD 1 million net worth a requirement from Stake or the government? For example, if you accumulate 2 million portfolio over time. So the requirement is actually not from the government. It is from our regulator, so the Dubai Financial Services Authority. So for investors to classify themselves as professional investors, they need to have a net worth of $1 million and above. Now you can accumulate the 2 million over time, portfolio over time, and then once you do and you hit that 2 million, we will then apply for the golden visa for you. Is it available for people who don't have a passport? Unfortunately not. So the reason why, we get asked this question a lot for people who either, living in Europe or the US and like, I don't have a passport, how can I invest on Stake? Unfortunately, when you buy property in Dubai and it's registered, the Dubai Land Department has a requirement that you need to do that via a passport. So once you invest on Stake, we have to go through the same process whereby once the SPV is done and then we're buying the property and the Land Department issues the title deed, passports are required. So that's why, unfortunately, we need to have valid passports from all investors. Are there any future plans to able to invest in another city except Dubai? Yes. We have been working very hard on a lot of things, just on one specific assignment, just over 18 months. And we'll have some exciting announcements for you very soon. We're almost at the finish line, and we'll be announcing stuff before the end of the year, where investors can start participating in other properties in other cities. But also we're working on getting other types of property as well, working very closely with our regulator to expand the opportunities for investors on the platform. Let's answer this one. Is there a possibility to activate credit card payments for small investors? I really wish. Again, being regulated by the DFSA, unfortunately, they don't allow credit cards for retail investors. It's only open for professional investors, and they do that to protect you, because they'd rather not have investors take on debt to invest. So, and we're not the only platform. There are other platforms that have restrictions to credit card payments. So, unfortunately, we're working with the regulator to try to get this removed. But as of now, credit card payments are not allowed for retail investors.
Okay, we've just had a question regarding Golden Visa. Can it include parents and siblings? Yes, it can. You can sponsor parents and siblings. Also had another one regarding the process for someone in their family who are already residents of the UAE. So just as if you were to transfer from one company to another, you'd cancel the first visa and then you'd start the other one. It's exactly the same process. The full process will take 2 weeks. You just need to be on the ground in Dubai to do that. But exactly the same with all the family. New Emirates IDs, every time a visa is issued, a new Emirates ID is issued as well. So that will be the case for the individual and anyone you're sponsoring as well. Regarding if you're already oh, it's just gone. Oh yeah, same question. Can you apply for your parents? Yes, you can.
If you're already a GCC resident, can you still apply for the Golden Visa? Of course you can. There are no limitations. You can apply and go through the process. can you add investments in the UK? We'd love to. It's on our roadmap, and as I said, we'll be communicating some things very soon. But obviously, when we go into new markets, we need to make sure that the legal structure, the regulatory structure is all compliant, and that the returns make sense for our investors. So we do study markets. We looked into the US before. We looked into, we sent out once a survey about looking into the UK and Washington, DC. So we're looking at various cities around the world. But looking into the legal framework of these cities before we go live is very important. And with a digital platform like today, it's very important that you make sure that you're compliant and you're following all the legal frameworks. But we will be announcing something very soon on international real estate outside of just Dubai. We're actually looking as well within the UAE to give our investors different opportunities. What is the time frame to get title deeds? So great question. Once a property is fully funded, what then happens is we set up the SPV in the DIFC, which is now not taking a lot of time, maximum 5 to 7 working days. And then as soon as that's set up, we buy the property and the title deed is issued immediately. So from when you invest to the property is funded to actually when you get the title deed, the average turnaround time is anywhere between 30 to 45 days maximum. I would say if there are any delays, it's purely because of the fact that we need to get NOCs from developers, which some developers take longer than others. Or if we're buying from a seller that has a mortgage on the property, we need to ensure, and to safeguard our investors' money, we need to make sure that the mortgage is fully closed before we do the transaction. And some sellers might take time doing that. So those are kind of the only delays that we might have. We have one question here that says, can we sell the property at any time? So as I mentioned earlier, we created something called the exit windows, whereby after 1 year of investment, you can put up your stake for sale on our exit windows, and then get liquidity. So you list it and other investors can potentially buy your stake and you can exit. We do 2 windows a year, May and November. They're for 2 weeks. And you are able to sell your stake at that time to potentially other investors.
Okay, just going through some of the questions now. Quite a few people are asking if they can come to our office. Yes, we're in DIFC in the Innovation Hub, always in the office. So feel free to come by. We can share all of this afterwards as well. In terms of the minimum investment amount, so you can get started with a stake from 500 dirham, which is $136. That is really, we have that price point so that you can, test stake. What we recommend to get the most out of stake is either investing a lump sum or continually reinvesting to get the best returns. So, what we're not trying to do is, we're not crypto, we're not stocks, we are real estate. We're all about holding real estate for the long term. And although we kind of provide you the exit opportunities to liquidate, we do believe in capital appreciation is the best form of making wealth out of real estate. So that is why when we, the properties that we buy, we really focus on exactly the locations and making sure we buy in prime areas to make sure that we're actually going to make sure that it's not just your rental payments you get every single month in terms of your rental yield, but we really care about that overall ROI and capital appreciation to our investors as well.
There's one question here. When will you offer commercial properties? That's a great question. I don't know if you saw earlier, we actually are in partnership or collaboration, if you like, with Majid Al Futtaim Group. We are working closely with them to hopefully, with the approval of our regulator, to offer commercial properties in Dubai. We believe there's a huge opportunity there. It's untapped, and we want to give access to the investors to be able to participate in retail or commercial space in Dubai. So stay tuned. We're just pending approval from our regulator, working very closely with them. Hopefully, if we can get that approved, then you'll be hearing something very soon. But I just want to highlight that we are working very hard to give different opportunities, different asset classes, different geographies for investors. That's something that is top of mind. It's on our roadmap, keeps me up at night. to figure out a way to just keep on getting better opportunities for our investors. Is rental added to the wallet, or can it be withdrawn? So we pay the rental income straight into your stake wallet. And then you're free to click a button on the app and withdraw it back to your bank account wherever you are in the world. And we don't charge anything on the withdrawals. Now, some of the banks on your side might charge, but from us, there's no charges once you want to withdraw your rental income back to your bank account. What happens to investments in case of investor death? So God forbid anything happens. We are going to add a function very soon to the app where you can add a beneficiary. But in the meantime, if you can send an email to, once you're an investor, you can send an email to our contact or on our live chat on Intercom, suggesting who you'd like to be the beneficiary. God forbid anything happens to yourself, and we will record that and ensure the process is taken care of. Let me just check one. Sorry, I'm delayed, but if I invest 2 million over the time of a few years, let's say 5 to 10 years, will I still be able to qualify for a golden visa? Yes. Once you hit that 2 million dirhams, we will be able to apply for your golden visa. I'll jump onto this one as well. Does cash balance in the stake account does that get taken into account for an application for golden visa? Unfortunately not, because in order for us to apply for the golden visa, there's 2 sets of documents that we need to present. Other than obviously your passport and the fact that you've cleared KYC with us, we would need to present the share certificates and the title deeds for us to be able to apply for you to get a golden visa.
Okay, being a US citizen, can I apply for the golden visa once I meet the requirements? And can I apply for a bank account in Dubai? Yes, as soon as you're a resident in Dubai, you can do that. Do you need to stay in Dubai till your application is submitted? Yes, so you have to be in Dubai to start the application process of the golden visa. We had this question recently for a golden visa we just submitted. You need to be here. It'll take about 2 weeks. We can do our best to speed up that process, but we recommend allowing 2 weeks within the country just to make sure that we can process the full visa and give you that Emirates ID as well. Had another one regarding the average return through stake. So we average around 6% net yield. It varies depending on the type of unit and whether it's short term or long term as well. And does your existing where did it go? In regarding net worth, so as soon as you've proven $1 million net worth, you can then fund your wallet, the 2 million dirham, with that net worth as well. Yes, that can be done.
I'll jump into, in case stake ceases to exist, how to insure our shares? Great question. So the beauty of our platform, unlike other asset classes, is God forbid anything happens to stake, your investments are in properties. So, the real estate doesn't go. So if stake doesn't exist, the real estate will always be there. And the fact that you have a copy of the title deed and you have share certificates in companies, SPVs registered in the IFC, you're able to see that, so nothing happens to your investment. At that point, an administrator will be appointed who will then take over the properties with you as the owners and help you in terms of exiting, selling, renting. So you're fully covered. Your investments in property, as we know, property is one of the best way to invest and store wealth and store your investments. So it'll never go to zero. So for us, it's if stake doesn't exist, your properties will always be there. It's brick and mortar. No one's taking that away. And one question here. Upon liquidation, okay, USB investment. So what are our current occupancy rates? Just north of 90% on our portfolio. It is interest free, and the 2 million can be divided across various properties. It doesn't need to be one property. When it comes to the application, can it be done through an embassy? No, you would need to invest on stake, create a platform, create your account, upload your passport, go through the normal KYC process, and then we apply through the DIFC portal to get you the golden visas. I'm just going do we recommend buying more frequently, like every month, or save a bigger amount of money and buying one property like yearly? Well, that's a great question. For us, the choice is completely yours. You can do either or. The beauty of doing it on a monthly basis is the fact that you can diversify across various properties. So, we're big fans of diversification. At the end of the day, there's always risk. We're very transparent. We say that there's always risk when investing in real estate, whether you do it through stake or you do it on your own. You might invest in a property where the tenant leaves, and there's no rent, there's vacancy risk, there's price risk. So at the end of the day, being able to diversify your investment across various properties, you're then able to get exposure to more properties, lower your risk, and add more means of income to your wallet. If my property does not sell during the exit window, will it be on sale until it sells, or will I have to wait for a window of opportunity? So it will be available until the exit window closes. And if it doesn't exit, then you can list it on the second exit window. As we said, it happens twice a year for now, for 2 weeks. Feedback on our last exit window from investors were that people would like to have more than it happened twice. So we're considering that, and obviously we'd let you know. There's here, can I highlight the advantage of stake versus traditional REITs? Yeah, I mean, real quickly, for us, the beauty of stake is a fact versus REITs. REITs, when you invest, you're taking the risk of the stock market. It's not really correlated to the actual property. As we saw in the US right now, as the stock market took a beating, REITs took a beating. So, it doesn't represent the actual value of the asset. So let's say the asset actually didn't drop, the price of the asset didn't drop, but because the stock market was taking a beating, the REITs took a beating, which basically affects your investment. Also, what we like about stake versus REITs is we give you the power of choice. So, at the end of the day, you're able to do it from an app. You're able to go in and choose which property you want. So you want to invest in a property in next to the beach. You want to invest in a property in downtown. While in REITs, you kind of invest in an overall fund, and then the fund decides into what they want to invest in. Also, fees of REITs are higher. We feel the beauty of stake is we do this in a cost-effective way. We do it in a very digitized way, and the fact that you're able to diversify. So the power of being able to choose which property you want to get into is for us a huge advantage, and the fact that it's not correlated to the stock market, it's based on the actual property price, is something that we see as a huge advantage. When renting a property, do you take insurance from the tenant to carry out maintenance work? So all our properties have insurance on them. That's a requirement. Now, when a tenant is in a property, you take a security deposit. So if anything happens to the property because of the tenant, we do have a security deposit whereby those are charged and taken from the deposit from the tenant to fix any issues that happen. How can we see the SPVs? Is that published online on the FSA website? No, it's not on the DFSA website. It's on the DIFC website. You just need to go and type in your PC, your SPV number, and you'll be able to find a full list of investors, and you'll be able to see your name there. What is Stake's long-term vision? I love this question. So we want to be the go-to real estate investment platform in MENA, and by doing that, obviously we started in Dubai, and we want to expand within the region. But the beauty of it is, the way we see it is, when people want to invest in stocks, they tend to use one app. When people want to invest in crypto, for those who invest in crypto, they tend to go to one app. But when people want to invest in real estate, they have to go the old-fashioned way. And there hasn't been an app that's been created, or a platform that's been created, whereby investors can pick up their phone, open an app, invest in a property in Dubai, invest in a property in Riyadh, invest in a property in Washington, invest in a property in London. No one's done that, and we want to crack that. We want to give an opportunity for investors to use one app where it's transparent, it's digital, where your full portfolio is there, and you're able to take some savings from salary or from wherever you have an income from, and basically take that income and invest it into various properties around the world. That's where we want to get to, because we believe that there's definitely a better way for investors to participate in real estate, to do it in a transparent, fractional, and digital way. So that's our vision. And obviously, we started in Dubai, and as I said earlier, we definitely want to expand to other markets, and we will be announcing that very soon.
Okay, we've just had about determining the value of the properties. So as Rami mentioned earlier, we have our exit windows, which are twice a year. During those, that's when we revalue the properties, and we'll tell you what the current market rate is. What will then happen is we'll tell you the value of your shares. You will have the option then to sell your stakes either at that value, or you can sell it as a discount if you'd like to exit. Examples of risks, I think when it comes down to risks, it's very similar to other real estate. If you're investing in real estate directly, market changes do happen and occupancy as well, but that's why we do have a very solid asset acquisition team that really makes sure we acquire the right units, and making sure we get the best units with highest occupancy rates that are going to generate the best returns for investors.
So if you expanded in other countries and total investments in different countries is equal to 2 million, can I get the golden visa? Unfortunately not, because it's a UAE golden visa and the investments would need to be in Dubai. So it would need to be Dubai based for the UAE golden visa. With the properties on the stake platform, what is the minimum lease period that is given to current tenants? So it really depends. We have a strategy where some of our properties are on short term, so Airbnb, holiday homes, and we have other properties that are long term. Now, we like to find properties where there's a tenant already inside that is paying a yearly rent or a 2-year rent. So it really varies. Or if they're vacant, then we're able to then go for a long-term rent or short-term. We really, it depends on the area and the unit. But we like to diversify. So some of our units are on short term on Airbnb, and then the others are on long term. And long term leases can be anywhere between 1 to 2 years. Okay. Can you invest in stake as a group investors, or just limited to individuals? Currently, it's limited to individuals. Now, as a group, you can invest as a company. So you can set up as a company, and we can onboard you as a business, as a company, and you can invest as a company, provided obviously you go through the proper KYC. But we can onboard you as a company, or you can also come in and as 10 individuals, 20 individuals, and invest into one property together. We have people who've done that. We have one question, property prices. How's your property valuations done? So we have, when you look at property prices, we get this question a lot. How are properties valued? So as per regulation, we need to have a third-party valuation report that's done. And we've done due diligence on the valuator. They come in, they go into the property, and then they give us what the market valuation is. Now, one thing that we've done at Stake is we've really paid attention to the quality of the assets that we have on the platform. We always go for prime areas with good tenants, good locations, good quality, good developers. We're not just going to list anything. And really, when I say this, as I'm sure most of you know, supply in Dubai, there's supply. You can get access to real estate. There's many developers, many real estate brokerages, many asset managers that have supply. And we get, hundreds of units sent to us, and literally we really convert less than 5%. And the reason why is because we just won't go for anything. Now, when it comes to actually choosing a property, there's a lot of things that need to be taken into consideration. One of them is the developer. One of them is the location. One of them is the quality of the property. So if a property is really run down, that's going to affect the price. If a property is in good condition, then the price is going to be higher. Another thing that's important is if the property is vacant, currently, there's a premium to that. And the reason why is because properties that have tenants that are paying older rents, the yields are less. And, tenants have rights, and you can't just evict a tenant. So, in order to buy a property that's already tenanted with a lower rent, the yields are going to be lower. So being able to get a property that's vacant actually sells at a premium in today's market. So, when we find a property that's vacant, yes, there might be a premium to it, but in the way we see it is the premium is worth it because of the fact that you're able to then charge today's rent versus 2 years rent, previous rent. So as investors, you're able to get yields, higher yields than if you're getting a lower rent. And then obviously view is very important. So, you know, when we choose properties, we try to go for properties that have decent views, good views. And as I'm sure some of you have seen, you know, we're very, we choose top locations with top developers. So all of this affects prices. Now, when you look at transactions, one thing that I'd like for everyone to notice is when you look at a specific building, a property might be cheaper than another property that's in the same building. And the reason why is the quality, the tenant that's inside, the yield that the property is generating, the upkeep of the property. So, you know, the numbers don't always say the full story. And, you know, those are the stuff that we look into all the time. And I think you guys need to be aware of that because there's many variables when you come into looking at the property. One thing here that says, I like what you guys are doing. Good job. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Please enhance your Android experience. We will. Our tech and product team are super client first. I mean, you know, they lose sleep on anything that has to do with customer feedback. So I'll definitely make sure I'll tell them, and you can guarantee that they'll be on it fixing immediately. Could I get some information on how to onboard as a company? If you can just email us on contact@getstake.com, we'll definitely have someone to reach out to you to give you the process. There's a couple of questions. I'll extend it for 5 more minutes because I love answering these questions. 5 more minutes and then we'll close it off. If you register as a company on Stake, can you qualify for the Golden Visa as a company? If so, do all the directors qualify for the visa individually? No, unfortunately, it's one person only that would qualify for the Golden Visa. It's an individual application. There's one question here, which is in Arabic. So I know we got some comments about, you know, if we can have the webinar in Arabic. And what I'll do is I will arrange a webinar in Arabic, and I'll have our head of client relations, Ammar, and myself join the webinar, and we'll do it in Arabic. But I'm going to answer this question. I'm going to repeat this question in Arabic, and then I'll answer in Arabic. أستاذ رامي، العقارات المعروضة قيمتها قديش على السوق، وللأسف من مصلحتكم ارتفاع السعر بسبب العمولة. اللي حابب أقوله إنه رحنا اليوم لما ننقي الشقة، رحنا مش من الاستفادة إنه ناخد 1.5%، بالعكس رحنا اليوم لما ننقي الشقة على البلاتفورم تبعنا على المنصة، أهم شيء لنا يكون إنه يكون عندنا ريليشن شيب مع المستثمرين تكون جيدة جدا، مش بس للشورت تيرم، لللونج تيرم. بقى اليوم لما رحنا ننقي الشقق، بننقي مثل ما كنت عم بقول قبل، بننقي الشقق اللي هن بالبرايم لوكيشنز اللي من مطورين رائعين. سو امرار لما انت بتشوف السعر يمكن اغلى من السوق شوي، بدك تعرف انه رحنا عم ننقي الشقق اللي لهم بوتنشل للانفستمنت يكون عالي. واهم شيء رحنا يعني مش الاستفاده تبعنا 1.5%، بالعكس رحنا نجاحنا هن المستثمرين اللي مش بس بيستثمروا مره، بيستثمروا عده مرات. رحنا مش ما بنشوف الريليشن شيب مع المستثمر انه هي بتكون استثمار واحد، يعني رحنا عندنا 80% من المستثمرين تاعولنا بيستثمروا اكثر من مره، وهيدا سر نجاحنا. اهم شيء لنا مش 1.5%، بالعكس رحنا اهم شيء عندنا انه المستثمر يستثمر مره، يشوف العائد تبعه ويستثمر معنا على عده مرات. وانت تعرف رحنا اليوم لما بنبيع الشقه بناخذ 2.5% من الطلعه، واذا طلع سعر الشقه بناخذ حصه منها، ورحنا هيدا بيخلينا نكون الايند مع المستثمرين حتى نكون رحنا عم ناخذ الشقه باحسن سعر، حتى اوفر ذا لونج تيرم السعر تبع الشقه يطلع. ان شاء الله اكون جاوبت السؤال، واذا عندك بليز اي اسئله استاذ، اذا بتعملنا ايميل على contact@getstake.com نكون حاضرين نجاوب كل الاسئله تبعك. What happens in case of a natural disaster? We do have insurance on the properties, so you're fully insured. We are fully insured on the property, so we're covered. How much investment is needed to get a normal resident visa? To get a normal resident visa, there's no cost. I mean, there's no need for investment. You get it through being sponsored. You're sponsored by a company. Any fees will be applied if I want to withdraw my money. We don't charge fees. However, if you are sending money back to your bank account, there might be some bank charges on your side because of currency differences. So that's something that you would need to look at. That's a great one. I think I'll end with this because it's this is a great compliment, and honestly, this is what drives us and pushes us forward. So really, thank you very much for this. Being part of Stake has been a great experience. The ease of investments is as easy as window shopping. Nobody would have imagined adding a property to the cart. Love the idea and vision behind this here for the long-term perspective. Thank you very much for this. I really, really appreciate it. And again, we are heavily customer focused. It's one of our customer centricity is our #1 value. So please, any comments, whether they're positive or negative, please share them with us. We'll make sure that we'll get on it immediately and try to improve your investment experience and the platform experience. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending. We really appreciate it. Will we be doing another webinar very soon? Yes, we'll be announcing one. We want to do these more often, so that's a commitment that I'll say live. We will be having a lot more webinars than we've been doing. So please stay tuned.
Yeah, thanks so much, everybody. So we've got this recorded, so we'll be sharing it on our YouTube, so you can access it there if you're catching up. I know a lot of people, we've had loads of questions. I think we've managed to get through all of them. If we've missed it, I do apologise. But if you just look on the screen now, you'll see contact@getstake.com. Any questions, feel free to drop us an email and we'll come back to you. But we'll see you on the next webinar. Thank you so much.